I think the best way to make sense of the CTV landscape is look at it through the lens of the consumer. What are people doing when they go home at night, when they're on the move? The access to content is universal at this point. And I think as an industry, it is important that we label things so that we can start to think about their impact on performance, whether that be driving brand, whether that be driving business outcomes, or ideally some blend of the two, how we create measurement for all of those. So we have to do some of the blocking and tackling to ensure that we're getting the most out of our investments. But ultimately, the journey to having CTV explode the way that it should and rightfully is earned is to go through the voice of the consumer. And they're going home at night and they're watching Hulu and Netflix and Amazon just as much as they're watching NBC, ESPN, and Discovery Channel.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like the technology's gotten better. I mean, I can start watching something at home, and then when I'm on the subway or on a plane, I can pick it up on my tablet or on my phone. And so, is that evident to the advertiser, or is that what do you think about that kind of behavior?
I think it offers two things. One, it shows again that content can be distributed and consumed in many different formats on many different size screens, right? So you can go from watching something in your home on a TV, like you said, to getting on the train and watching it on your iPad, to being in the car or somewhere watching on your phone. And I also think that's very generational. I think older consumers are probably more likely to be tablet TV, whereas younger are probably mobile first. The first place they go is to watch something on their phone. So as an advertiser, you have to start to think about that consumer experience. What's the best ad to put when it's on a big screen versus what's the best ad when it's on a mobile device? So some of the precision targeting that we could use in that environment as people are out and about and maybe closer to retail locations or QSR locations versus maybe driving a brand message on the big screen, and how you create interaction and relevancy and contextual relevancy is really what the technology and data allows you to do. So again, the best of both worlds. You've got premium, amazing content, highly distributed, and then you partner that with data and technology in order to create the best consumer engagement moment.
And so when it comes to adoption, are there any hurdles for agencies and brands as far as getting on board with CTV?
I think the hurdles are probably some driven by the speed at which this has all happened, right? It wasn't long ago that we were simply talking about online video. And I remember having a meeting with a partner who was presenting a new long form show on their platform. And I said, I feel like this isn't going to be real until there's an ad in Times Square or outside of LAX promoting this as a show. And today I was coming in from the airport, and every show going into the tunnel in Midtown here was a Netflix show, was a show on Amazon Prime. So CTV has made it. But I think the speed at which it's happened, can technology keep up? Can we use data in the right way? Can we move money from the legacy channels, which we have years and years of data and success story on, and make sure that we're kind of qualifying the audiences in the right way and proving that that's where the ROI is coming from. But ultimately, if you find the right mix and your business is growing, that's probably more important than any one single channel being completely responsible for it. It's really the full consumer experience.
And I'm really fascinated by this area of free ad-supported streaming television. Just seeing its growth, seeing how accessible it is to people who may not want to pay for another subscription, but also like the content seems to be getting better, and then there's like live sports now. Like, what can you tell us about what you're seeing there?
Yeah, I think that it's, imitation's the best form of flattery, or however that saying goes. And I think that as you can kind of build that, there's libraries of content, right? And how we get those out and how we monetize them. I think that one of my fears would be that much like we've seen a lot of companies do, take price in order to keep their top line up, is how do we protect ourselves from doing that in the future of the ad ecosystem? That the only way to continue to drive revenue isn't to put more ads in, but how do we put better ads in? How do we create a better user experience? So I think on the fast channels, the watch out should be, do I just want to run 15 to 20 minutes of ads every hour in the content that I have? Or should we think about a better sponsorship model? How do we create more value in those? So I think the slippery slope for not just for fast channels, but for the ecosystem as a whole is we shouldn't just say the answer is more ads to create more revenue. We should think about better experiences to create better outcomes.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the consumer experience because, with some streaming, sometimes it is disappointing to see the same ad 3 times in a row, or an ad that's in another language, and you wonder what went wrong in the pipelines behind all this. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the average consumer doesn't think what happened behind the scenes here. They just get annoyed. And I think that reflects, unfortunately, negatively on the advertiser first and foremost. The consumer doesn't blame the ad agency or the media provider. Maybe ultimately, sometimes they get mad at their streaming service or something, but that's more about I pay money and I put too many ads in there. So trying to find that right balance. So I think from our perspective, much like it's been in any format we've had, radio, out of home, finding the right balance of advertising and content and really helping consumers understand what that trade-off is. Like, I gave you something in return. The reason that this show is free, the reason that this printed content is free is because of ads. Now, if I can make the ad hyper relevant to you, then that just makes you want to come back to that publication, back to that media channel, back to that brand. So all of these things work in unison. It's better for the media owner, it's better for the advertiser, and then ultimately the agency is fueling all that. Of course, we want to drive that business for our clients.
Well, I know we've covered a lot of ground here, but looking ahead, let's say to the next 6 months to a year, is there anything you're most excited about, or perhaps you'd like to see, or alternatively that keeps you up at night that you're worried about?
I'm going to go on the optimistic route of not what keeps me up at night, but where I think the opportunities are. I think we're just at this amazing moment of time in our industry, right? Like this intersection of data, technology, distribution, content is at a tipping point. I think consumers have a ton of control about what their experience is. I think on the advertiser side, we've got mountains of data that we're really understanding how to use, and we can create some really cool consumer experiences. There's nothing better than kind of waking up in the morning and seeing your brand in the buzz talks. And I think that we have more ability to control that than we've had in the past. So I'm just excited about where the industry is. I think, generationally, the people that are coming into our business, we were talking about cord cutters the other day. I brought it up to a new group of employees. They're like, what's a cord cutter? They weren't even cord nevers. They don't even know we're talking about cords other than to charge their phone. So I just think that we've got generationally kind of a shift in what's happening. I think we'll think really broadly. I think we'll think really excitingly. So yeah, it's a great time to be in media and to try to be driving our clients' business.